Ok.
Eles mais sério que Filipe.
Mais sério.
Espera, já estamos ao vivo? Não. E estamos avisando já. Então já estamos em vivo. Já. Então, aqui estou saludando, aqui está Lili Benítez, aqui pessoas que vão entrando, vou saludando Ingrid Bruja, que é speaker da LuxuryLab, aqui Ricardo Reis, que é diretor de um grande amigo que vive em Milão, que agora vai cambiar para México, foi diretor de Louis Vuitton há muito tempo.
¿Te están escuchando, no?
Sí, todos nos escuchan, sí. Adrián Rabinovich, que é de Brasil, um querido amigo. Então, aqui temos as pessoas que estão conectando. Então, estamos esperando mientras que Giorgio se conecte. Vamos fazer a entrevista em inglês. Olá a todos. Jackie, Jackie, como estás? Jackie aqui de Chablet.
Saludos.
Te saludou. E só estamos esperando que a hora Giorgio nos vai mandar um request para poder pô-lo em vivo também, não? Pero graças a todos que estão. Saludos desde México, Maria. A Jackie já dijo olá para ti.
Hola, Jackie.
A los dos. E vamos começar hoje uma plática muito interessante com Giorgio Brignone. Então, todo o que está passando no mundo do turismo, vamos a venir com muita informação por parte de Giorgio. Debbie tem umas perguntas interessantes também. Aí está, puso Debbie. Agora les apresento, muitos já conhecem a Debbie, os que não conhecem vou apresentá-la melhor. Estamos só esperando que Giorgio se conecte. Já, Giorgio se conectou, agora nos vai mandar request.
Y de hecho, acabamos de hacer la entrevista con Chablet.
Sim, já que acabamos de fazer uma entrevista com Rocco de Chablet, Debbie lá isso e me invitou a participar. Agora hablamos. E lo conheci, um gosto. Estamos esperando, já nos mandou Giorgio request, vamos entrar agora em vivo. Giorgio.
¿Me ves bien?
Te veo perfecto y qué envidia. Estás en un paraíso y nosotros aquí en la Ciudad de México. ¿Cómo estás, Giorgio? ¿Nos escuchas bien?
Te escucho perfecto. ¿Estoy suficientemente cerca o no?
Sí, suficiente cerca con la distancia sana. Okay, I will switch to English because maybe some of our followers don't speak Spanish, but I would like to first introduce our dear Debbie Beat, which in Mexico most of the people know her. In Brazil, maybe people don't know her yet, but they will know very soon. Debbie has an amazing community and company. The name is Marcas de Lujo Asociadas, which has almost the most important luxury travel brands in Mexico. It's a very interesting the way they have been developing this sector and supporting the sector and also giving the importance that they need in terms of information, meetings, experience. Is very interesting. So as Debbie knows Giorgio very well, I invited her to come to this very, very cozy live that we are doing with Giorgio, because also he's a very good friend. We love Careyes. His family has been our close friends, Filippo and Giorgio mainly. And also it's very important in this moment to have this conversation. So thank you for everyone who is participating, who is on this live. For some reason, they are saying that I'm in black. So Lili, you don't, let me see. Giorgio, you see me, right?
Very well, yeah.
Okay. So good. Maybe Lily, something is happening with your screen. Let me know. Well, let's start. The first question, Giorgio. I think we have never been in a situation like that. We have had hurricanes. We have had earthquakes in Mexico. But a pandemic is something new for everyone, not only for Mexicans, but also for the whole world. So we know, and one of the things that we love from Careyes is the way they protect their community. They are very concerned about their community, not only about the environment, but also about the community. So can you please share with us what have been about the community of Careyes in the last 2 months, 3 months that we have been in the pandemic?
Hi, hello. This is Giorgio Brignone from Costa Careyes, Mexico, between Puerto Vallarta and Manzanillo, and it's another of these glorious days here in this paradise where it's truly amazing to be in confinement. I've been here in confinement for 3 months, and really it is a pleasure. And I thank God every day, and I think of my friends that probably are closed in some apartment in the city, and I'm really lucky, and the people that here are very lucky. So basically, everything started quite fast with us because my sister arrived from Milano, and obviously Milano was the epicenter at the time of the coronavirus in Europe, and she was absolutely afraid of everything, and she couldn't believe that here in Mexico nobody had any interest or there was no culture about the coronavirus. So we immediately started and this was middle of February. We immediately started a protocol for the people coming to Careyes, which basically at the security gate, the temperature was taken, people were asked where they were going, and we closed the restaurants, which was a possibility of getting coronavirus. And we asked people to remain confined. That was the very beginning in February. And we have done the same since February, and now in the last week, we started opening the restaurants again, and we now only accept reservation for more than 14 days, 14 days being the minimum. So therefore, we can ask the people to be in quarantine for 14 days, and we know that finishing these 14 days, they're free to go anywhere. But it is a quarantine which is quite nice because you can go in in 3 of the 4 beaches that we have. You can obviously ask food at the takeout of the restaurants. You can go to the beach. You can go riding if you want. So it is. You can go and walk on these incredible long beaches that we have. See the sunset. We even have a teacher with teach yoga with Zoom. So people, we ask people after 2-3 months if they get bored, and really they never get bored. Plus, they all discover, as you know, that to work home is beneficial. A lot of people never imagined that they could go as far as they want in their businesses. This is a perfect place to concentrate, do things that you would normally never do because you never have the time, and still fitting in the holidays. So I would say that the confinement here in Careyes, where there's about 150 owners that came to stay in their homes, was a pleasant experience for everybody, and everybody now thinks of staying more time and spending more time during the year in Careyes.
And it's very interesting, Giorgio. I just want to answer one of the questions that someone asked. Where is Careyes? Careyes is in the Pacific side of Mexico, very close between Colima and Puerto Vallarta. So it's 1 hour from Colima airport, it's 2 hours from Puerto Vallarta. So it's one of the best kept secret that we have in Mexico for those who doesn't know Careyes. And Giorgio is one of the family founders and also responsible for this amazing and beautiful destination. So we can see in Mexico, we know that the travel industry, hospitality industry in Mexico, Giorgio, is a very important industry for the gross domestic market. So in terms of employees, in terms of generating income, all the business that it generates. But and then we saw that this week, just June 8th, the first destination that was open was, in terms of hotel business, was Riviera Maya, Yucatan. So they are now opening their hotels, of course, following all the measures, the sanitary measures. But what changes that we can see for Mexico in the future? Not only talking about Careyes, I'm talking for the whole Mexico or the travel industry in terms of certification or all the measures that you are taking in terms of you just mentioned that any new guest has to be there like at least 14 days, but for how long that will happen? Are you going to change that? Like when you have to open for, like you have El Careyes, which is a club and residence, they will receive new guests. How will you manage and how Mexico is preparing for that?
I just want to be between Manzanillo and Puerto Vallarta, not Colima. Colima is a little bit further down. So it's the airport of Manzanillo. We are about an hour from Manzanillo Airport and 2 hours from Puerto Vallarta. It's a beautiful drive. It is a road that is being enlarged, and it's a really pleasant experience. It goes along what they call the Costa Alegre, which is a coast which has been discovered only in 1968 when my father arrived. It is 300 kilometers of coast in the state of Jalisco, which is is one of the third most important state of Mexico. And Costa Alegre is the future of the tourism for the Jalisco coast. And the new governor is very interested to see what's going to happen. And I think it's going the right way because there is a Four Seasons being built right now, which is going to open next year in the Tamarindo, which is a famous destination for its golf. There is next to the new airport being built. That's going to be also ready this year. It's called Chalacatepec, and there we have an interesting Mexican group, which is also developing La Mandarina in Puerto Vallarta. That's going to open 2 hotel boutiques. So it's going the right way. It's going where we want, which is an exclusive destination where there's a lot of conservation that has remained. It's probably one of the most protected coasts of Mexico. There's been no mistakes. And I think that the new hotels that are coming in these areas, that's exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for areas that are preserved, that are protected, that are a little bit far away from the cities, and still in a state which is pleasant because the people from Jalisco are very nice people. Now, as far as your question on the what's going to happen in the coronavirus pandemic measures, obviously all what we are proposing right now, which is staying in quarantine for 14 days, and we made a proposal that we would only charge 10 days out of the 14, and if you would decide to stay 1 month, we'll only charge you 20 days. So this is an interesting situation for people that are really interested in staying a long time. We think that Careyes needs to be discovered in several ways. I mean, it's a lifestyle in itself. It is a privilege situation, and it's only when you leave 10, 15 days you realize how special this coast is, starting with this climate, which is really unbelievable. Now, everything is subject to change, and we put these rules until September, and obviously in September we'll see what happens. One of the things that may happen is that we find a test, which is that we could give to people when they arrive here, 48 hours after their arrival, and they could say if they coronavirus free, and that obviously will change the dynamic, because we probably ask these people to stay less than 14 days. But this is something that's we're studying. We're looking for new tests that we can buy for the guest, and that obviously will change everything. And then obviously we have Christmas, which is a very important moment for us. So obviously we will have to find another strategy. We don't know what's going to be the cases. For the moment, we are in an area which got no coronavirus, which is unbelievable. We are totally free of it, and this has put us in an incredible position. But we don't know what's going to happen in the next months. You know, if this area is still going to remain like this, if it's going to lower, nobody knows. So everything is subject to changes in the few months.
Yeah, I just want to remember before, because Debbie has a very important question, that Carl Emerson has a reminder for you. He's saying, first of all the best, Giorgio, and don't forget, you have our home exchange one day. So Carl Emerson, who is also attending to this live, he's just reminding you about the home exchange that you proposed on his live. So that's nice.
Who?
Carl Emerson from Punta Mita.
Sure, of course.
That's marvelous, Giorgio. What a pleasure to talk with you after so many months that we haven't seen each other. And actually, with Carl Emerson, we did a beautiful interview a few days ago. And now I invited Abelardo to do with me one interview for Rocco Bova. Of course, you know him from Chablais Resorts and all those beautiful places, Punta Mita and Chablais and of course Careyes, have been doing such an amazing, beautiful, going way up in showing what is the good hospitality and your experience in the service. So how would you describe Careyes growth during those past 5 years that you've done such a great job, Giorgio?
You asked what happened in the last 5 years?
50 years.
This growth that you've made in the last 50 years.
Well, you know, everybody asks me, because I've been here for 45 years. You know, I joined my father just 5 years after he started, and I've been with him until now, because fortunately my father is still alive. He's 94. And I obviously had to go through all the creation of Careyes, all the fights, the crisis, the hurricanes, the earthquakes, the pandemics, the securities issues. I mean, everything that can happen to someone that goes to countries as exciting as Mexico. So everybody always asking, and was there any change? I mean, you feel that Careyes has changed? And I tell them, I don't think he has changed. I think the DNA of Careyes is still the same. It is still the same community of people from all over the world, because we have 42 nationalities. It is still this simplicity in the architecture, although beautiful. It is still these restaurants which are very tasteful without trying to be over the top. This adventure that you can only find in Careyes or in Mexico. This nature that is unbelievable, because we are, as you probably know, we're surrounded by a biosphere reserve of 23,000 acres all around us, and that protects us and preserves all the fauna. There's 270 mammals and more than 1,000 plants, so there is an extremely rich vegetation and fauna around us. So these encounters of animals that you find, the whales that come to see us, the birds that pass in front of the homes, the life of nature, you can feel that. And this is still, and I would even say that it's even better, because now, thanks to the reserve, there's obviously no hunting, and we find that the resort is actually a source of food and water for them. You know, they come closer and closer to the houses to get water in the dry season. And so you really have these amazing encounters all the time. So I would say that the DNA of Careyes, which is its nature, its architecture, its community, its taste, its peace. We have no airplanes that pass in Careyes. You never hear an airplane. So this hasn't changed, and this is what the people really enjoy, because obviously every resort in the world has got something special to offer, and in our case, this is what we have to offer. And after what we lived in the pandemia, where everybody now is desperate to go in the nature and desperate to find peaceful heavens, I think that's exactly what Careyes is. So the last 50 years it's been the same. It's been the same, and I'm happy to say that, because so many times people come back in a resort and they say, oh, well, you remember 20 years ago when you used this beach, there was no one who would go surfing and so forth. And now there's 15 hotels. And this is not our case, because besides the place, we have some very stringent regulations. We cannot build in certain beaches because there are turtle sanctuaries. You know, we cannot build more than a certain amount of floors. We cannot build more than a certain density. And Careyes, when it's going to be finished, which is probably going to be in 30 years from now, we'll have maybe 200 more houses, something like this. And we will only occupy 5% of our land. So 95% is going to be jungle, is going to be green space. So this is a planning that can take us for a long way, and it's a guarantee for the people who are buying properties with us.
Yeah, and that's true. We have been in Careyes, and all that you are saying is something that incredible. That for 50 years, all this amazing reserve that you have, and most of Careyes is protected, and now so we really don't listen any airplane. So it's someone is saying "Viva Careyes." Yes, it's a beautiful by nature. It's a beautiful place and protected by humans. No, one of the few places very well protected. So the next question, Giorgio, would be about new trends. You are the ones who have the jet sets, who have all these amazing. You are with the top clients in luxury travel. What are the trends? What they are looking for? Are they looking for the best gastronomy? Are they looking for what do you think is going to change, and what is exactly these people that are going to Careyes are looking for exactly?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because I think luxury now has many different ways of expressing itself. There is obviously the most obvious is the luxury where you have marble floors and golden faucets, and you have a waiter that it's standing next to your door, and you expect to have caviar and champagne in your fridge, and everything is run like a palace. We have a different way of seeing luxury. Our luxury is the fact that, for example, you have no neighbors, that you walk in Careyes and there's few people that you see because the people are in their homes. Our luxury is the simplicity of the food. We prefer to have a good salad from our organic garden than a complicated salad made by a chef that's coming from Hong Kong. The taste of our food is natural. We have fishermen that bring the fish for us. The settings are simple. We put a table outside of the restaurant, and I always said that one of the biggest luxury I ever had was to have a dinner with the eclipse, an eclipse at the same time. I think that's the luxury, to be with some friends and a good wine and see the moon disappearing. You don't need on the other side, you don't need to wear a jacket. You don't you have to be casual elegant, and the people dress up for being casual elegant. So it's a much more relaxed atmosphere. There is no as we say, the waiter waiting, or the maître d' waiting next to you to your butler to see your next wishes. You come to Careyes, you don't feel you are in a resort. That's what we want them to feel, is that they are in a free space where there are rules, but you don't see them written everywhere. You read them in your room if you want. So there's an education of the people that live there, which is also special, because the 42 nationalities we have is from people that have the same. They're looking for the same things that we're looking at, and therefore, it's not who's got the biggest yacht. As a matter of fact, nobody has a yacht here. Everybody has a little boat which everybody found much better because it can be repaired locally. There was, I even remember, there was one time 2 girls that came from Monterrey, and they say, well, we come here to see the princes. Where are the princes? And just next door, there was Prince Poniatowski and Prince Fürstenberg that were having a drink. But they were in T-shirt. Obviously, they didn't have a crown on their head. And nobody knew that they were princes. But they are. But everybody is very simple. We never talk about money in Careyes. It is something fantastic. Nobody tells who's got the biggest jet, the biggest house, the most expensive house. We don't talk about these things. We talk about the beauty of the place and how well you feel, and that makes the difference between a luxury destination and a luxury Careyes, I would say.
That's beautiful, Giorgio. And I think all those kind of different luxuries, as long as they give you a special experience and that makes you happy at that moment, that's absolutely good enough. But Careyes does have a very special DNA. And tell me, Giorgio, in your opinion, what would be the best option to reactivate the tourism, the hospitality in Mexico? How can we get it back to track?
Well, it's that's also another very interesting question. I mean, I think that Mexico is probably the most exciting destination I've ever been. The more I travel, the more I go and see places, the more I realize that Mexico's got it all. It's got it all in landscaping, in weathers, in architecture, in culture, in food, in art, in so many cases. I really find that Mexico has it all, and unfortunately, it's always been sold badly. The government, they propose this destination basically to hotel chains that want to fill up their hotels, and they sell it as a cheap destination. Now, obviously, they upgrade a lot of the hotels as the most beautiful hotels in the world that are coming to Mexico, and obviously they will have to make understand that Mexico is also a prime destination, which is something that we are not yet. We haven't arrived. Although, we're getting there because, again, all these chains, the wonderful chains that are coming in Mexico every day, it certainly will create a luxury Mexico that the Americans, which is obviously our closest market, doesn't know. And so it's badly sold. So it needs to be better sold. It needs to be segmented. I think Mexico has got a great market for luxury. It's got a great market for 4 or 5 star hotel. It's got a great name for adventure traveling. It's got a great name for boating. And I think that this should be segmented. Another point which I think is very important is the fact that there's the airplanes, the connections with the airplane is they need to change the law. They need to have foreign companies be able to pick up traffic here in Mexico, and then give some routes to more aggressive airlines. Obviously now it's difficult to talk about airlines because if there's 5 that will remain alive, we'll be lucky. But it is certainly an enormous problem, and for us we certainly suffer a little bit of that. Is that there's the lack of airplane lift and the lack of direct flights, and then especially Mexican airlines are very expensive. So, if you want to have people coming, you need to have an easy access. And all the countries that have understood that, starting by Costa Rica, which is a neighbor, they have thousands of airlines coming to their airports. And this is the reason why they have a high occupancy rate. Then obviously they need to work on the security. But the security, it's more of working a little bit with the anchormans on the television and I always say that Mexico is the country of the telenovelas. The more blood there is, the more horrifying has been the crime, the better it is. And I see these anchormans that even in the most serious programs, at the end they always talk about how many people were killed and burned to death. And countries like Brazil, they probably have a higher crime rate than we do, and they never talk about it. So Mexico needs to change a little bit that aspect of being providers of bad news, and that certainly will help. I'm sure a lot of people would love to come to Mexico, but they won't. They're too afraid. I remember I lived in New York for a while, and after living 15 days in New York, I called my brother and said, listen, can you get a bodyguard because I'm arriving? They say, you're crazy. I said, no, I mean, you look at the news here and you think you're going to be killed with a machine gun when you arrive at the airport. So obviously all these things, you know, instead of having 20 million tourists a year, we'll have 40 millions like this because it's the closest to the United States. So I think that's all the points that they have to work on the connectivity, on their crime image, on their marketing to be right. And I think Mexico is an obvious destination for the richest country in the world.
Yeah, we totally agree, Giorgio. We have a high potential destination here in Mexico, different places, and we have seen what other countries have been doing. Like we know that Asia has been the first to open for tourism. Then Europe is doing like step by step, but they are doing opening. Like Portugal is doing a very well opening with a certification for the coronavirus. And someone, before going to the last question, someone asked, Guadalupe Terraz asked, how will tourism change for Careyes after the COVID-19 pandemic? I think you answered a little bit, but if you want to make more clear, what are the changes for Careyes after the COVID-19 pandemic? If you could, please.
Well, I think that we are very optimistic about the future because the people have understood that they need to find a healthy destination that have a future, destination that won't become a crowded place, that the water is drinkable, that you won't get sick, that you won't be murdered, that your title of property is clean, that you'll see the same landscapes in the future. So I think that the coronavirus has opened the needs of people to live better and to live on a better quality. They realize that they could die any minute, which is something that a lot of people had forgotten. And they realize that they can work also from that destination. So I think the people are going to start looking a little bit better of where they want to be in the next 20 years. They'll have probably much more needs now. They know exactly what they want. And I think that Careyes, which has been always a little bit away from the normal advertisement channels or the normal promotion, I think the people are going to discover us and they're going to be very pleased for what they see, because now Careyes has got 60 homes. You know, we have the homes. The homes actually are hotels. This is one point that is also very interesting. We feel that there is a certain opposition between the hotels and the residential world. The hotels are geared to fill up the rooms and have promotions, and it's a tourist that comes down. The residential market is a market that likes to stay in his house and likes to have massages, likes to take his time, and a lot of time even the activities that we propose are not even taken because people just come here to relax and forget about the busy life. So this is the kind of lifestyle that the people want. So we hope that now with our messages that we're going to send up and a little bit of advertisement, the people will understand that Careyes is now a destination where you can live on all year round. Careyes has incredible weather. It only rains 15 days a year. The ocean is swimmable all year round. We don't have specific problems of insects. So it is a destination where you can live all year round. We have enough now services, activities, yoga, health. We are getting very big into health activities. Obviously, all the yogas and the Pilates and the massages and the sound healings and the creams and the temazcales and all these kind of things is something that we do on a regular basis. And people come here for health. It is Careyes is a symbol of health and good life. So I think that the Careyes is a concept that is going to be appreciated and looked for in the next years. And again, the fact that you're able to work here because we have a fiber optic internet service, so we have a fantastic speed. You can really work from here. And so the people are starting to think, well, why don't I retire here? And I think that's going to be the good news for the future.
Yeah, it's very interesting because you spoke about the 50 years of Careyes, about the architecture, about nature, about the food of Playa Rosa, who is also attending to this live, and the food of Careyes. But we haven't spoke about these amazing events that you do in Careyes, like Arte Careyes, which is one of the most important art events, contemporary art film festival in Mexico. Also about Onda Linda and Chinese Year. So would be wonderful to know a little bit more about these events, Giorgio. And also, I imagine that would they be postponed, as all events will be postponed for next year, or are you thinking to do any events for this year? Anything that you can share with us would be also wonderful.
Well, that's it's true. I mean, the events of Careyes are
in Polo, of course,
are real events. They are wonderful in what we do. Every event is a real event. I mean, it is something that you'll keep your mouth open of enthusiasm and surprise when you see them. So I'll start for the next one, which is probably going to be postponed and probably moved into February, which is Onda Linda, which is normally the first week of November. It's an event on an invitation only, and it's extraordinary 4 days of music. We bring the best music, the best DJs, and we have 3 parties in the evening, which are absolutely amazing, with the 10,000 candles that are in surrounding the parties, and the best in their kind, the best DJs and so forth. So this is probably going to be changing to the months of February. Then next year, which I hope next year is going to be a different scenery, we'll have the Chinese New Year. The Chinese New Year, which is also an institution by my father, which is a tiger. And at the time we had a Japanese friend that was living with us, and he said, why don't we do the Chinese New Year? So we create a scenario of fantastic animals that are made in Mexico in papier-mâché, and we create an evening where we celebrate that animal. Right now we are in the year of the rat, and each year it's got his news, his predictions. Obviously, nobody predicted what was going to happen this year about the rat, but so that's an event. Then we have the Arte Careyes, which is a fantastic event of cinema and art. We sell art in auction. And we also show cinema with this 1 week of movies. We have a movie theater. Well, actually, we have 2 movie theaters. We have a movie theater which is enclosed inside for 60 person, which is a totally professional cinema. And we have outside where it fits 300 or 400 people, a little bit like Cinema Paradiso. Actually, that's the name of a cinema, Cinema Paradiso. And during these events, we have well-known producers and directors that come and give classes to the young hopes of Mexico, the young actors, and it becomes a very interesting event. Then in the months of April, Easter, we have a big polo event because Careyes is also decided to take the route of the polo as opposed to golf. And nobody of the family was into golf. And I was totally crazy about horses. And I said, why don't we do a polo? And we started this polo. I started this polo 30 years ago. And now it's one of the best polo clubs in Mexico. We have an event in April where we have more or less 10 teams, more than 280 horses that come for 1 week of events, which are parties and games. And it's one of the most competitive tournaments of Mexico. We have players from all over the world that come, and we're really pleased that the people, will travel long hours and long days, their horses, and bring them from Guadalajara, Mexico City, Monterrey. And we obviously rent horses. We have more than 60 horses that we can rent. So we made a fantastic event. So this is about the 4 events that we have during the year, because Careyes it's got 2 parts. It's got the part of these events, which are obviously with a lot of people, and it's fabulous. It's like Christmas and New Year's. It is fabulous. And then you have the Careyes where there is few people, or there's less people, which is the total peace. And it's a good equilibrium. There's people who like both of them. There's people who only like the peace, and Careyes that's the place. You can choose when to come during the year.
And Giorgio, I don't know about Debbie, but when I see this behind you, it's like a backdrop. It doesn't look. It's something real. Can you please show us what you have behind you?
This beautiful painting that you have behind, which
You're
is
so jealous.
so
Here.
beautiful.
Wow! Look.
This is where we are in Casa Sol de Oriente, which are 2 homes, and in front it's Casa Sol de Occidente. This is what we call the castle. And these houses, they have a particularity, is that they are built inside the pool. It is a 200 meters long swimming pool that goes all along the ridge, and it is an experience. So
I know. I remember we had a beautiful dinner up there in Casa Oriente. You do have a paradise and a very, very beautiful place there in Careyes, Giorgio.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, only to see that we want to be there right now. So we are really thankful, Giorgio. Thanks so much for sharing a little bit about. We really miss all this traveling, this paradise, knowing about Mexico a little bit more, knowing about what's coming. So all this information for us is very important, and I'm sure that people will be very thankful to hear all of this information. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Giorgio.
Well, thank you, Debbie and Abelardo, and I'm so glad that Abelardo, for you, luxury is you want to know everything about luxury, and I think you're right. Luxury is a big mystery. What is really luxury? And I think that the COVID will probably change a little bit the appreciation about luxury, or there's going to be many kinds of luxury. And Careyes is certainly one very specific, because luxury, it's a language that everything has to go accordingly. Everything is a harmony, and all the steps you're taking has to be followed by another one which has got the same level. And we decided the Careyes luxury, which is very particular. Some people get absolutely crazy about it, and unfortunately, not enough people know it, because it is certainly something exciting that they should know.
Totally agree. I think we were exactly talking about that, about the small things, to be excited about the small things. So thanks, thank you, Giorgio, and looking forward to seeing you very soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.